Well, hello to our viewers. Welcome to another video interview in our Blue Frontier Path mentorship series. We are very excited to be talking to Allan Dib, who is an international best-selling author of a couple of books. The one is the one-page marketing plan written a few years back, and his more recent book is called Lean. So welcome, Allan, and great to have you with us on our show today.
Hey, Chris, pleasure to be on.
All the way from Melbourne, I might say, in Australia. So that's really good. It's 11:15 as we record this in South Africa, but I think it's about 8:15 in Melbourne, Australia, in the morning. So good to have you with us. Okay, Allan. So you know what we're talking a lot about mentorship. The Blue Frontier Path Online Academy exists as a mentoring service and facility to people doing graduate, postgraduate work. And so I'd like to really talk a little bit about your take on mentorship and coaching, which of course has become quite a big thing. But before we do that, I was really keen just to maybe let you share a little about your books, because as one reads the title of these, one could almost think, well, the writer is anti-marketing, or certainly very keen that marketing should take a much less position than it might currently do. Could you talk a little bit about that, Allan, and how you see the marketing discipline, as it were?
Sure. Look, I don't think marketing should take a backseat at all, but I do think we need to have a completely different approach to marketing. So a lot of marketing right now is very interruption fueled. It's about being loud. It's being trying to outshout the other guy. It's obnoxious, and so it's gotten a bad reputation in a lot of ways. So good marketing and powerful marketing is marketing that brings a lot of value to the audience, and it brings value regardless of whether the person buys or not. So that's the kind of marketing that I advocate for, and I think that's a much more powerful approach than what a lot of people are doing now, is just trying to be louder and louder and more interruption fueled and kind of chasing the latest bright shiny object.
I guess one of the reasons for that obviously is with the emergence of social media and so-called free advertising, if we might call it that. Suddenly everyone is shouting louder or trying to find a way to stand above the others or to be seen. I guess, you know, the viewer is becoming more, we talk about children these days having a shorter attention span than ever before. Well, I mean, I'm a 70-year-old man and I've got a very short attention span because there's just so much going on there. You quickly scroll on or look at something else.
Yeah, well, I often say people don't have short attention spans; they have short boredom spans. So if your content is boring, then yes, they won't pay much attention to it. But I mean, people listen to, I mean, the biggest podcaster in the world, Joe Rogan, does like 3-hour podcasts, which people fully consume. People binge a Netflix series for hours and hours. So we know that people don't have short attention spans; they have short boredom spans. And so there's so much content, as you alluded to, on social media. So people just don't choose kind of boring options. So if you are boring, if you are vanilla, then it is hard to stand out and it is hard to get attention. So we want to get attention, but we want to get it also the right way. We don't want to become the algorithm's dancing monkey, so to speak, because the algorithm is kind of optimizing for more extreme content, for more controversial things that get clicks and shares and all of those sorts of things. So there's a balance there, and it's one that's kind of a challenge for many marketers today.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's, I mean, can you think of some examples, Allan, that might resonate with some of the viewers in relation to where content really works? Is there anything in your mind or anything that you've actually played with in some of the companies that you've launched and put together?
Oh yeah, there's many examples. So really the whole goal when I think about content is, how can this be upstream to helping the person get the result that they want to get? So for example, let's say for example, where you sell weight loss, either coaching or training, or you're a personal trainer or whatever else. There are a whole bunch of touch points prior to someone deciding to work with a coach or a personal trainer that they might go through. So they may be thinking about, okay, how do I put together an exercise program? How do I put together a nutrition plan? How do I decide what kind of program I should be on? So if you can create content that can help someone in advance of them buying from you, that can be a really, really powerful approach. So a lot of marketing is trying to communicate to someone that once they buy from us, their life will be much better. And everybody does that. Everybody's like, buy from me and your life is going to be so much better. But if our marketing can actually demonstrate to them that their life is better by actually making their life better prior to them buying from you, then that's a much, much more powerful approach than just trying to tell them what the future will be like. Take them there, help them in advance. So if your content can actually be helpful to someone in advance, that to me is the most powerful type of content, especially when you're selling something of reasonable value, like if it's what I call a high consideration purchase. So if it's, if it's a pack of gum or whatever, it's just an impulse purchase, that's a little bit different. But if you're selling something of reasonable value, someone's going to have a consideration period. So for example, think of what's the last thing of high value that you bought? Maybe a car, maybe a house, maybe a website package from someone or whatever. You probably didn't wake up that morning and decide, okay, today I'm going to buy a new website, or today I'm going to buy a new car, whatever. There was a consideration phase. You might have test driven it. You might have read reviews. You might have decided, do I want it in black or do I want it in red? Do I want an electric car? Do I want a fuel powered car? So if you can help someone through that consideration phase, then you are in pole position for them to buy from you. You've already demonstrated that you can make their life more valuable by actually helping them.
Yeah. So we're still talking about meeting needs and being solution orientated. It's just a way. I mean, I guess you need to know what your value is very clearly. A marketer needs to be very clear on what their value is to be able to offer that value.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. The first place we start, and it's no accident that in the one-page marketing plan, the very first block is your target market. So we want to figure out who are our people, because a lot of people, I'm shocked how many people know what their product is, but not who their audience is. And so that's really where we want to start. We want to start with who are our people. So who are our people? And then what's a problem that they've got? We kind of think about it like you're the mayor of a town, right? In every town, there are things that are done really well and things that done are really poorly that we need to address. And so you need to think about, okay, for my town, if I'm the mayor of this town, what are the needs of my constituents? What is a problem that we can solve? So for example, if I think about the town where I live in, right? So there are things that are done really well. Rubbish collection is done really well. Everything is really, really clean, and they remove dead trees and all of that sort of thing. But there's a really dangerous intersection nearby, and I think they should install traffic lights. A lot of people feel that way as well. So that's something that if you were the mayor of the town, you would think, hey, we need to address that. Whereas in another town, they might have completely different needs. So you need to figure out who are my people, and then what's a problem that I'm going to solve for them.
Yeah. So, and that problem is the touch point. I mean, that's where people feel emotional about something, or
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. So much of marketing is telling people, hey, we're awesome, we're the best, we're all of this, and not talking enough about the person and their problem. So we want to be target market and problem oriented, rather than talking about ourselves, how awesome we are, how our business was founded in 1984 or whatever it is, right? So a lot of marketing is self-focused, whereas good marketing is problem and target market focused.
Oh. Let's sort of segue a little bit towards mentoring, Allan, if you don't mind, because that, of course, is where the Blue Frontier Path comes into the picture quite a lot. So obviously here in South Africa, we've got a lot of people who are almost playing catch up, as it were, in terms of education standards or being fit for the job in some way or another. I mean, what is your opinion right there? I mean, if we talk about pedigree, as it were, or being well suited to a job in terms of educational qualification, do you see a shift there in business these days?
I do. I think formal qualifications used to be much more important. When I look at my own hiring patterns, I've never asked in a job interview what degree somebody has. I really don't care. I care about what their past experience has been, what they've been able to do, and more importantly, I want to figure out who they are as a person and their attitude towards things. Because what I've found is hiring on attitude rather than skills or experience or even qualifications is far more important, because frankly we can teach skills, we can
Yeah.
teach them what to do, but we definitely can't teach attitude. Usually that's something pretty fixed. So when I look at everyone from the CEO of my organization to others, they are people we've hired on attitude, and they've grown throughout the organization and been able to increase the value that they create in the company, and I'm able to promote them throughout the organization as well. So these are things that I really look for, is attitude in hiring. Obviously, you know, some professions, I mean, obviously I want my doctor to be
A
qualified. I
doctor,
want
yeah.
my, I want my lawyer to be qualified. So obviously that doesn't apply in all professions, but in more and more professions, qualifications mean less and attitude means more.
Yeah, and I guess also with the real focus on culture, you know, corporate culture, and what it is that we're trying to achieve from a team perspective, or groups of people
Yes,
working together, that becomes critically important in terms
most
of the fit of a person at CEO level, or you know, director level, managerial positions, and so on.
totally agree.
Yeah. Um, Okay, Alan. So, just in terms of mentoring and coaching, um, can you give us some thoughts on that, and what sort of role has that played in your own life? Do you come from originally a corporate background, or they refer to you as a serial entrepreneur? Does that mean that ever since you could kind of walk and use your brain, you were, you know, selling newspapers like Warren Buffett or whatever? Have you always been an entrepreneur, or?
I don't know about selling newspapers like Warren Buffett, but I have sold newspapers. But yes, for 99% of my life, I've been self-employed or had my own business. For a very short amount of time, I did corporate, but I was pretty much unemployable. So I had to do my own thing, I'm afraid. So which was good. So that's exactly what I did.
But in doing that, the whole thing of mentoring, where did that fit in for you?
Oh, it was critical for me because I'm a university dropout. I've got no official degrees of any kind. So mentors were extremely important to me. And, you know, in my books, I reference many of the mentors that have
Mm,
been important to me. To me, having someone who can help guide you, who can help you through, uh, basically switch on a light for you when you don't have a light, is incredibly important. And especially if someone's been where you want to go, that's absolutely critical. So I think of coaching and I think of mentors as like a cheat code in life and in business. So whenever I've got a problem I want to solve, yes, I do look at information. Yes, I read books, all of those sorts of things. And books essentially I feel like are mentors as well. I mean, you know, someone has spent 4 or 5 years of their life putting together this book and their best experiences and their best information. And for $20, $25, I can get that. That's the best bargain in the world. But aside from books, having someone personally guide you through a problem or an issue that you're experiencing is incredibly valuable.
yeah, and also I guess the outside view, that well, coaching is the mirror view, or the outside view, an objective view, as one might
Totally,
say, of what's going on with you personally in your growth, in your journey, and someone feeding into that in some way or another.
totally.
I mean, you mentioned, I quite like the under your acknowledgements in the one-page marketing plan, you talk about standing on the shoulders of giants, and
Yes,
and yeah, essentially, I guess that says it. That's taking the advantage of people who've walked the road before, who've done really well, who can speak
of
to
course.
your situation.
Of course. That's incredibly valuable. I mean, when someone can take you by the hand, guide you, and say, "Hey, avoid this rocky path, go this way, this is the way you need to go. And when they're speaking from experience, it is incredibly valuable. And now I have the privilege of doing that for many people as well. So that's really a core part of our business, is coaching and consulting and helping clients really avoid some of the big pitfalls of marketing and implement some of the best practices.
I read recently somewhere that sorry, did I interrupt you, Alan?
No.
Okay. No, I read somewhere recently that at sort of C-suite level, CEOs at that sort of level in management, that there's a very high failure rate in placement of people in those positions. And in the same article was saying if people at that level were more open to the whole concept of coaching, that one could change that scenario. What do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, if you have a look at all the highest performers in the world, whether it's someone in sports, whether it's someone in politics, whether it's someone in business, they all have coaches. So having a coach is not something that you do because you've got poor performance, something because you aspire to great performance. So I think it's absolutely essential.
Yeah. Great. Well, that's fantastic, Alan. Thank you so much for your time. I'm just going to close off. You've written a new book, which you've just published now, Lean.
Yeah.
Lean, is that it?
It's called Lean Marketing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that a similar sort of concept to what?
So the one-page marketing plan talks a lot about strategy, and we need strategy when we begin. So strategy is all about how do we allocate our finite resources, how do we get the most of what we do. And so when you've got strategy, then you turn once you've got your strategy, then we turn to tactics. So this book is very tactical. It's all about how do we actually implement marketing, do small changes, but get really, really big results. And that's what it's all about, because so much of marketing is now do more. And every book you read adds to your to-do list. Whereas in this book, I talk about, let's do the 2 or 3 things that are going to make the biggest difference in your business and in your life. So that's really the focus of the book, is how can we get bigger results by doing less marketing.
Fantastic. And that book is currently available.
It'll be out in May, but it's available for pre-order right now.
Cool.
So if you're listening to this after May 2024, it's out. If you're listening to it before, it's available for pre-order.
Cool. Great. Well, thank you very much indeed for giving us your time, Alan. It's much appreciated. And
It's my pleasure.
Good. I hope you're starting off a good day there in Melbourne, Australia, and all the best to you.
Thank you so much. Great to speak to you, Chris.
Thanks, Alan.